Hello? Welcome back. Today we're back, and today we're reviewing every single DLC, and if we have enough time, every single level. So, this is my cursor here. You see my cursor, my mouse? Alright, so first, we're gonna start with locations. Now, I'm not ranking them, I'm just describing them and what I think about them. So, anyway, so let's get started. So I'm not gonna have any of the camp locations. I'm gonna review them later, but Squid Coast. I'm gonna open the tab so I know like the loot tables and everything because I cannot memorize anything. So it's a starter level. It's a tutorial level. It's a good thing. It's an okay thing, I'd say. And it doesn't really have that many. So how come there's a bunch of yeses and I say it doesn't have that many mobs? Well, that's because arcade. I'm not talking about arcade. Arcade is that because Squid Coast isn't really the tutorial. So in this place, I know the squids. In the cinematic, these spawn, but cinematic. So zombies, vindicators, and skeletons are like the only thing you have to deal with. It's quite easy, not considering your gear. Now, this is not the best level, but the reason it's not the best level is because it's a tutorial level. It's a good tutorial to introduce you to the game, but it's quite easy and you should be able to get the hang of it. Also, I like the Easter egg. If you do something special, the glow squid here, you can find 4 patches of sunflowers, and in a specific order, press the buttons that appear over them. Go back to the start, roll over the bridge, and then the squids come out. So I like that Easter egg. So Creeper Woods. Pretty much the second level in the entire game. How's it like? Well, this is the first in true mission. The lighting is quite poor, but that's only because it's nighttime, so I'm not going to count anything like that. It is not the hardest level, but the objectives are relatively simple, and that's what I don't really like. And also, the only reason I don't like most of the levels in the game because they have a secret level attached to them, and I suck at finding secret levels, so yeah. So anyway, let's see what we can encounter on this side only. So let's see, armored skeleton, armored vindicator, armored zombie, chicken jockey tower, creeper enchanter, necromancer, skeleton, spider, a vex, a vindicator, a watchling, a wraith, a zombie, of course, Anderson, raid captain, sometimes enderman, sometimes evoker, sometimes skeleton horseman, and spiked eye DLC for as an Anderson. So yeah, I like the visual designs of the levels. They were quite creative with the caravan thing, but otherwise it's quite good. Creepy. We're not going to rank any of the secret levels. So Soggy Swamp, Pumpkin Pastures. Let's get down here. So, I'm getting myself confused already. So let's start with Soggy Swamp. This is the first level with a true boss, like a boss that isn't a mini boss, the Corrupted Cauldron. In Arcade, it harbors the Evoker, but we ain't talking about Arcade. So I like the Corrupted Cauldron's design and attacks is quite unique. The pink slimes are also unique behavior. And I like the lore of the Corrupted Cauldron. And I like that you have to like destroy all the cauldrons in the thing. This is quite a long level. And when I first started playing, I kept dying. But I managed to formulate a strategy and eventually beat the Corrupted Cauldron. Now I've beaten every level except the Echoing Void levels. I've beaten the Stronghold level too. Pumpkin Pastures. There can be, in default mode, from what I've seen, up to 2 evokers. One spawns somewhere around like half or something of the levels. One spawns at the end of the level as part of an ambush. They also spawn Vexes, so they're quite annoying. What you are going to have to watch out for is the creepers. And the only other thing I would advise you to watch out for is probably the evoker itself. The fangs and the vexes can overwhelm you. Otherwise, other than the raid captains and the occasional redstone golems, oh, that is not good. Other than that, you should be alright. Alright, Cacti Canyon. It's a canyon full of cactus, basically. So, I kind of like the design of this level. So what you have to watch out for is just the raid captains. Unless you're on Apocalypse and the rest of golems spawns, you should be able to handle a skeleton horseman. An Enderman could do significant damage, but you should be able to make it back. There's no true boss in this area, so it's quite easier. Always creepers are definitely something to be worrying about, as they blow you up and you take a lot of damage. They're actually quite annoying. So we have redstone mines. So I like the fact that you can get the blacksmith because that gives you good upgrades to your power. We have to watch out for some mob spawners because if you just first played it and you don't have like gear that's super high above, the mob spawners do have high health and they can spawn a bunch of zombies to overwhelm you quickly. They themselves cannot do any damage. You will have to worry about evokers and the redstone golem then spawns at the end of the level. But you should be alright. Alright, after that happens to be Desert Temple and Fiery Forge. Technically, this is how it goes. So, Creeper Woods unlocks, forget about Soggy Swamp, Pumpkin Pastures, Cacti Canyon, and Redstone Mines. Pumpkin Pastures and Soggy Swamp are not required to beat the game. But let's say you beat those. Then you have to beat both Redstone Mines and Cacti Canyon to unlock Desert Temple and Fiery Forge. Once you beat those two, you get to High Block Halls and then Obsidian Pinnacle. But for now, we're only on the Desert Temple Fiery Forge. Since Desert Temple happens to load quicker, yes. So, there's a bunch of traps in the temple. That's quite unique. The Nameless one has a unique ability to duplicate itself. You should have to worry about the redstone golems. Otherwise, it should be alright. Because creepers don't actually spawn in this area. You should be able to withstand all the pressure that's going on, and eventually defeat the nameless one. Good strategy is if your power's like higher than the like much higher, you can just charge at the nameless one. You'll be able to beat him in no time. Otherwise, you should try to dodge his projectiles, as if you get hit by too many, you can actually die. Kill all but one of the skeleton vanguards, so you can't spawn anymore, because then that's really annoying. However, a good thing about that is that he's stunned. Like, he can't move when he charges up. Fiery Forge. You definitely have to worry about the redstone golems that spawn there. You have to worry about the raid captains, but of course, yes. The evoker should be quite easy to deal with. The redstone monstrosity, you're definitely gonna have to worry about. Everything else should not be that much of a problem, except the creepers, of course. And you might get overwhelmed by the amount of pillagers and vindicators that spawn. Not because of them themselves, but because there's too many of them. Alright. We're actually going to review the Stronghold first. This is exclusive to Echoing Void. We are not reviewing question mark. Or technically Mushroom Island internally. And yeah, the Stronghold is quite simple. You just have to get to the portal. You have to find. What's unique is that you have to go out and find all of the Ender eyes from the Enderson in the multiple missions. Otherwise, it's gonna be quite easy. There's just a silverfish ambush, and then you should be able to get through. So let's review high block halls when my computer loads. It does worse on my dungeons. High block halls. So the objective is straightforward. Just get to the kitchen, crash the party, confront the archer, and defeat his army. What you have to worry about is the redstone golems and the evokers, because the evokers usually spawn where there's not a lot of room and there's a lot of enemies. Otherwise, you should be fine, except the road guards, they do a lot of damage. Obsidian Pinnacle. This, however, is one of the hardest bosses in the game. You know what? We're going to actually review that boss. But first, let's review the Arch Illagers. First, let's review what you have to worry about. So in the cinematic, that appears. Nothing to really worry about. So what you have to worry about here is the bosses. This spawns at the end of the arcade. That's the final boss, so might as well work. Redstone golems and evokers should be alright. Yeah. You should be alright. If you just keep shooting at the redstone golem and then moving with your melee hits, once he tries to place the mines, you should be alright. Endermen are gonna be a little bit of a hassle, but you should be able to get through them. Other than that, the rural guards will be able to pin you down a little. Alright. So now we're going to enter the island realms. I'm going to quickly explain all of them. Dingy Jungle, straightforward, there's a maze, then you get to the Overgrown Temple. And then you, how do I describe this? Can I describe this? You have to reach the sunroom, a few key golems, you have to work a few key golems, then you have to defeat the jungle abomination, then you have to escape the temple. Planet Plateau is secret. Frosted Fjord, however you say it. You have to cross a river, you have to get to a drawbridge, you have to lower the drawbridge, you have to kill an illusioner and get to the lone fortress, where you find the wretched rig, destroy the wretched rig, And yeah, you win. Now, Windswept Peaks. It's pretty much straight. You just have to get high enough to get to Gale Sanctum. Gale Sanctum, you go in, you master the wind, and then you defeat the Tempest Golem, and then you leave. I forgot Coral Rise. But technically, you just have to get to the Abyssal Monument, which is the end of the level. I think there is another Guardian boss fight. Abyssal Monument, you have to destroy the Ancient Guardian once and for all. Nether Wastes. Your portal just broke behind you. Now you have to venture through the Nether Wastes, which is full of zombie pigmen. And then Basalt Deltas is full of gas and weird platforms. Now the fortress I've never played and secret anyway. Warp Forest, you just have to travel through a forest. Now I actually have Crimson Forest and Sun Valley. There's a secret level inside a secret level. That's but anyway, Crimson Forest, you go through a forest, you can find a scroll to let you get into the Soul Sand Valley. Otherwise, you just have to get out. Soul Sand Valley. You go into a valley full of soul sand and some fossils. And there's a bunch of wither skeletons. And while it's like the outskirts of the end, you have to make it to the center of the end, which is the Broken Citadel. And then when you're at the Broken Citadel, you need to find a way to get to the Vengeful Heart of Ender's resting spot. And if you perfectly goes to a transformation, you beat it. The cutscene points, you win the game, basically. This is the final end to the game. These unused locations. I'm curious if we can actually get some info about these locations. Oh, what? That was supposed to link to... Okay. We're gonna fix that on our own somehow. So Nether Forest, I'm assuming it's a forest with Nether Wart. They say it would take place in the Crimson Forest or a Warp Forest with nothing that much is known. Scorched Crags will probably be Basalt Delta since crags are rough places. It's likely going to be Scorched, but that's everyone in Nether. Slimy Sewers. Now, actually, prior to high block holes, you would have to use the sewers to infiltrate the creek. Now there's a well that you can sneak in without finding the key golem. So that's alright. Sub-end city. It's probably an end city. It's probably a sub-dungeon. Alright, now we gotta look for the Arch Imager. And we're gonna discuss the strategies. So first, as soon as you get here, he will fire 3 purple energy blasts in a horizontal swath towards a random hero, you know. It deals a small amount of damage if it hits. This is its most common attack. If it comes within melee attack range of the Arch Imager, and the Arch Imager will try to teleport away, and occasionally, yeah. It's identical to the Illusion mini-boss. That is actually the only reason why I would rank Creeping Winter quite high. Because of the illusion. Enhanced, like the Enchanter, it's quite... So you can summon a circle of Vindicators around 10 to 20 around you, or you can summon a line of 20 Pillagers through the center of the arena. The single, he summons a Reshingle mob. It's smaller and Same thing? Is it the same thing? I don't know if it's the same thing. I haven't mentioned the defeated in the world. The Heart of Ender has a magnificent design. It even has the arch illager in it. So, yeah. So, Spider Walk. It crawls around the arena, leaving a void. It's quite light. So, first he leans back, moves his tentacles in weird fashions, and spits out a cluster of, well, what it calls replicas of the orbs of dominance from its mouth. And when it touches the ground, it explodes in a little radius, and it leaves behind flames like fire that looks purple fire, that damage you when you touch it. And then after that attack, it does, well, the wiki calls it Foresight. I call it X-Beam. But it says it's a plus formation. So basically it raises up its arms. I don't know how to describe that, but the beams, after shooting out from the stomach in an X or plus like position, they start rotating. Well, it says clockwise. I don't actually pay attention, but yeah. And then after that attack, it's followed by, well, what it's called a deco puddle. I call it a Heart of Ender avatar. Because what he does is that he sinks in the ground, and then unattackable heads of the Heart of Ender appear, and they just shoot the beams. No, this does less damage than the Foresight attack. Told you. And then after that, it goes back to the mortar barrage attack. And in between the attacks, like the wiki says, it does its spider walk, which it like crawls around your battle arena and leaves a trail of a void-like substance, it says. The Arch Visage is one of the models that make up the Heart of Ender. Its behavior is technically passive because it doesn't do anything. Oh wait. Was the Heart of Ender supposed to summon something during its boss fight? Alright, well, since we can review the Vengeful Heart. The Vengeful Heart looks... Oh. Heart of Ender was still loading this whole time? What the heck happened? Why did it go there? What the heck? So it looks great. I like its face. I love its what you call it? The soundtrack. So it charges at the hero. Now it forms like a little shield, I like to call it, in front of it, and then like little lines, like small laser blasts follow it, and it just quickly rams the player. And it deals constant damage if, well, yeah. Void Spoon spins its body segments around, similar to the Heart of Ender, moving its tentacles around in a weird fashion, and it spews out projectiles. However, unlike the Heart of Ender, the projectiles actually explode, and they have like a void-touched effect. Oh no, they explode in a larger radius. And then they have a void, and the explosion is the main damage. The void touched effect, well, like slugs, they call it, come out, and then it gives you the void touched effect by making condensed void, and then the slug disappears when it lands. The Vengeful Heart of Ender, it shakes, and an Ender might swallow. And some of them are enchanted with sharpness, meaning they are the only mobs that are summoned by another boss mob or something like that are enchanted, because usually that can't happen. And even if an enchanted were to spawn, it doesn't spawn any enemies. And it can shake, and this time it eats the endermites. And then it says 1/28 of its health is healed per endermite it eats. Or rather consumes. That's why it's called a feast. It scatters it, then it takes them back. So you know how there's like a void pool in the middle where it becomes invincible and invulnerable, which are basically the same thing. Goes to the center, going into the pool, and then there's a void pole, and it sucks heals towards it with the same like little tiny laser beams. And then after a few seconds, it explodes during a lot of damage. And it said can only be used twice in a single battle, and it's performed 3 times in a row. The laser pinwheel is similar, however, like little flat screens erupt at the end. Of course, it still spins its visible body segments, however, it spins them faster, and it shoots energy projectiles. The more damage that you've done to the heart of the Vengeful Heart, the more projectiles it spews out. And while the void pool is active, I forgot, endermites are constantly summoned by the boss. And then it reflects any on the void crystals. Make a little small explosion out of void blasts, I guess, those little laser blasts. And then they reflect the projectiles. They don't reflect, they deflect. And then they go to a random direction. And it says the lower amount of health points it has, blah, 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 blah. And that's it. Okay, so I actually realized I didn't show you any of the animations. I'm not even sure if the Heart of Ender, they did not properly add the animation. Okay, so this is a mortar barrage attack. And then when they land, they create fire. This is the foresight attack. This is the decoy portal attack. Get that out of my eye. Yeah, everything's been covered except the spider walk. It like walks like a spider, like on all 4s. Except this guy has like 6, so all 6. And then it just leaves like a trail void. Does the illusioner has no? Yeah, I'll tell you that in a minute. Vengeful Heart. It does really. I don't know why they don't have any animations for the Heart of Ender. Yet that was released earlier. Okay, so this is the intro. It like goes forward. This is the idol. You barely see it because you usually. This is the charging, or rather, like you know how it charges in and rams the player. This is how it scatters endermites. This is how it eats endermites. This is how it shoots. Oh wait, it's different. Dude, this is how it shoots the projectiles. This is how it dies. No, lasers are coming out of you. This is like how it goes in and out of the pool. This is how it spews those mortar. This is how it walks. These are the input. This is the void pole. This is the concept art. But check the wiki for yourself. Alright, illusioners, the final mob we will check. I'm gonna see, I can't see, okay. So summon blind and cast 10 seconds of blindness on the player. And while blinded, attacks have a 50% chance to miss. Why is there a giant space there? Bow action. It's called bow action. The real illusioner shoots like a firework arrow. And it deals much more damage than the arrow shot by its duplicates. Then it teleports, and after teleporting, it will use a random attack, then teleport and use the illusion, which is conjectural attack. And this attack will summon multiple illusioner clones. They look the exact same, except they turn to purple smoke when they die. They can be killed separately. And the illusioner gets constantly fire arrows at the hero. That's about it. And also, it says it's also called the illusionist. I'm gonna go to the trivia and see what it's called in the game files. Illusionist. Jasper. What's... So it's referred as both. Alright guys, I guess I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye. Ding.